What's up guys, how's it going? Ben here. Just want to share my kind of like a half review so far. I'm almost 40 hours into the game of Starfield, and I just wanted to kind of give a quick kind of overview of where I'm at, where I kind of see Starfield at this moment in time. Before we go any further, just heads up about potential spoilers or anything like that. I'm just going to be playing some, like handling some side quests in the background and just walking around and just giving you guys something to look at, you know. So yeah, just you've been warned for any potential spoilers there, just if anything comes up, because I know everyone values spoilers differently and considers different things spoilers. So with that out of the way, I'm almost, like I said, almost at 40 hours, about 38 hours I think at the time of recording. Progressed the main story a certain amount, still got a long way to go there, so I can't give my full thoughts on the story or anything like that. I do plan to do a proper kind of full review once I've reached the end and checked out the new game plus and everything like that. But just wanted to kind of give my kind of thoughts on where there is, because obviously this game's been quite divisive. It's caused quite a lot of discourse in terms of, you know, a lot was riding on this for Xbox and Microsoft, and as well as Bethesda, but mainly Microsoft and Xbox have like been the ones who have been after this kind of to be a success, because, you know, from an Xbox standpoint, they've had Redfall that was quite disappointing this year. Halo Infinite hasn't been doing fantastic for them. We don't know where Gears 6 is. You know, they've got a load of games in the pipeline, but are they, you know, how far are they away? You know, looks like next year is going to have some good ones, but, you know, that then depends what's been delayed and what gets sorted that way and everything like that. So I'm thinking this is like of great importance to Xbox, obviously, and I think generally, you know, we saw the whole thing going around of like some IGN 7 out of 10s and GameSpot 7 out of 10s and stuff like that, and that's fine. I think the vast majority of have been, you know, I think it's like 88 on Metacritic at the moment, so certainly something that's you know, you can call that a success. And I think overall this game is a success at the moment. Is it game of the year? I don't think so. I think in a year where Baldur's Gate 3 and maybe even Zelda Tears of the Kingdom don't get released, it possibly could get game of the year. But, you know, that's because then the bar is lower, you know. The bar's been set higher this year. And to be fair, when you compare most other game of the years, I think that's kind of fair as well. Like, I think this would lose in other years as well when you're matching it up to other kind of game of the year contenders for some things. And it's not that it's a bad game. It's definitely like, you know, a second or third place on that side of things. I think the main thing is that obviously this is, I think this really just comes down to your expectations going into this game. And I think that's my, like, kind of where I'm going to kind of settle with this initial review, is that if you go in looking for, you know, amazing kind of seamless space travel, and can't even climb up here, seamless space travel, and you want to be, don't know why I'm jumping on rooftops, but, you know, seamless kind of space travel, and you want to be like, you know, proper kind of space pirate, and you know, going from one planet to the other, but seamlessly, and flying everywhere, and, you know, just kind of it being more of a sim, I think it's the wrong game for that. I think then you're looking at Elite Dangerous on that side of things, probably. If you're looking for the, like, what I would say is like truly unique and crafted worlds, and with loads of things to explore and scan, and you know, that's your jam, I think that's No Man's Sky. I really do not personally like the scanning in this game, like finding all the plants and the animals and the minerals. It's, compared to No Man's Sky, I really don't like it, and I think that's the perfect thing. This game is going to draw comparisons to those games. But I didn't go into this game thinking that this would be, you know, scanning is the be all and end all. You know, for me, I'm invested in this Bethesda game because I want what Bethesda do best, and that is story, quests, companions, even just like factions and tension and the storylines between characters and people. And you know you're going to get your fair bit of jank and your fair bit of bugs, which, to be fair, I found this game very light on the bugs, which I think is in general is across the board. That's not just a system thing. That's I think has been reported quite numerously around that it's probably their most stable launch of a game, and it's still going to have little things. But I think, you know, we can't really point the finger at Bethesda there when we look at some of the games that have launched this year. I mean, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, to mention one, like the PC port being horrendous for that and incredibly buggy and unoptimized and stuff, and Wild Hearts earlier as well and things. So I think there's, as far as game releases go, this has been a very nice stable one, on that side of things, from my personal experience anyway. In terms of the story, though, like I said, with Bethesda so far, I'm intrigued. I don't know where it's going to go at the moment. You know, we're off gathering these little kind of artifact pieces. They make a little spinning kind of globe thing. We get little visions and little songs from them, and that's nice. You know, that's cool. I'm intrigued to see where that goes. I think, you know, again, I'm going into this looking for a good time in those kind of areas, and I think I've been let down a little bit by the companions. I feel so far like I quite like Samco just because he's got the is it Elias? Can't remember his name. The voice actor for what's his name? Is it Elias? Is it Elias Tefexis? I don't know how to say his name, but he's got, you know, obviously really distinctive voice for Samco there. I quite like Barrett as well. Been enjoying having Barrett around as company. I feel Sarah's a bit of a tea towel, really, just generic, boring. Doesn't like it when I do things against the law, despite saying when she signs you up that they don't really mind about that. So yeah, I find, and the others, you know, I haven't really properly seen them as companions yet, so but I understand you can have Mateo and ones like that as companions further down the line. So I feel like the immediate cast of companions a bit drab. But I do like that you can, the other kind of outer ring of companions seem quite nice so far, and being able to place them as crew or on your outposts and things like that, really enjoy that as well. The main kind of thing that I was initially saying about what you're going into looking for with a certain, like, you've got a preconception, you know, you're going to be disappointed if you want to treat this like Baldur's Gate 3, right? And I think if this released before Baldur's Gate 3, I think it would have been better received. I think Baldur's Gate 3 set a very high bar, and as RPG fans, we're eating good, right? We're eating very good. And I know, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is more of a CRPG, so it's more top-down, so there's not a complete crossover there. Not everyone who plays Starfield is going to enjoy Baldur's Gate 3, and vice versa. A lot of CRPG fans might not like first-person shooters. That's, you know, and there's plenty that like both. So the overall genre of being an RPG, though, I think Starfield has definitely suffered a little bit by releasing after Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of a full release, because that's when, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 got even more kind of users and people around it and stuff like that. So I think because it is easy to draw the comparisons that, you know, the NPCs here and how they talk and everything, they're generated, aren't they? They're not motion capped, whereas in the facial expressions and the movements are so much more smoother in Baldur's Gate 3 because it's got motion capping, I believe. So they've actually got the actors hooked up with the motion caps and doing all of that stuff. Oh, I gained a contusion. I think overall, my initial impressions so far is that I've been really enjoying my time in the game, and I think at the moment long may that continue. There's definitely been some quirks. I find the weight system has been heavily limiting. I find the trader kind of pool of credits they have heavily limiting, and a lot of these things, thankfully, I'm playing on PC on Steam, so I can use mods for these to like fix these little quirks and stuff. So they're not the end of the world, you know. That's a design choice. That's up to them. That's what they've decided is from maybe an economy balancing kind of thing. I found the gunplay to be a lot better than their previous kind of, well, Fallout titles. Combat is much more enjoyable. I like the variety of stuff. I'm not a fan that you can't like move attachments from one gun to another. You can't really do too much from that side of things. You just lose the attachment. And I seem to believe Fallout 4 had that attachment system where you could move attachments from one gun to another. So that's gone backwards. They kind of like said, or at least insinuated, that this was the deepest kind of outpost building system, and I think that's a complete lie. I think Fallout 4 has a much better outpost building system. You can have more crew stationed there. You can actually build like walls and floors, and like, you know, you can have rooms, and you can build, you know, at the moment, if you want to build like a bathroom in one of your outposts, you have to have that as a whole separate prefab. You basically have, do I want a square, a circle, or a hexagon prefab? And you can connect them together, and you can make little nice, you know, got little airlocks and stuff, and, you know, you can decorate it inside, but you can't have wall partitions, as far as I'm aware. You can't like divvy things up and create nice living home spaces and things like that. And it's a bit bizarre because you could do that in Fallout 4. So for someone who, I personally am not the biggest kind of decorator or interior designer when it comes to video games and stuff like that. My outposts are more function over their form, as it were. I want them to just be efficient and get me credits or materials or whatever their purpose is. So that's fine. But I think if you're going into this game and you want a nice cozy kind of, I can find a planet and I can build a nice cozy outpost on it, I think you'll be a bit disappointed. On the flip side, I was more impressed than I originally thought I would be by the shipbuilder. Now, I was already thinking I would be impressed by the shipbuilder, but I've really enjoyed being able to, like, it's basically like Lego, but with ships. Like, there's lots of nice stuff you can do there to, like, just build the ships you want. Seeing on YouTube loads of people like making like the Millennium Falcon and X-Wings and, you know, all the kind of Star Wars ships and things, which is really, really cool to see. I think that is brilliant. I'm really, really a big fan of that. And so far, like I said, I've been enjoying the quests, and the side quests have been particularly strong. There are kind of sprinkled in your little fetch quests and go here, deliver this to this person and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, they're kind of woven in to your other little odd jobs anyway, or these bigger quests that start becoming multi-layered. The kind of Let's Play Come Quest Me series that I've done a couple of videos on my channel already, that was a prime example of going to a planet for one reason, finding a complete different kind of quest that I then started that led to like the next 2 hours of questing on that quest line. And it's a side quest. It's not even a main quest, not even a main story quest. It's just a side quest, and get to meet some nice characters. They're well scripted, quite nicely voice acted as well. The quality is there. You can tell there's like care and love that's been in that. Obviously, like, these guys are just all generic kind of NPC, not Barrett's Bay, but, you know, these guys are just generic NPCs wandering around. They got that dead stare kind of thing, and obviously you got the little bit of the Bethesda jank here and there when you talk to an NPC and they're like side on to you and not making eye contact, or they're facing the wrong way and stuff. You know, there's there's little bits like that, but I think that's part of its character at this point and not something that is game breaking for me. In terms of like performance, so I'm playing between like 4K 60. I was playing on Ultra. And I was finding the further I got into the game, I was dipping more into that 50 kind of frames, which isn't the worst, but you know, I'm on a 4090 with a 13900K CPU. It is demanding at times. I think it's actually linked to how much you have in your inventory as well. Like, the more you have in your inventory or in your cargo, the more stutters I was getting when I'd switch a weapon. And you can see it when I switch a weapon. I lose 5 to 10 frames when I don't even have the weapon out. I'm just switching the weapon on the keybinds. You can see there's a ever so slight stutter when that happens. And I don't know if that's a memory thing or not. But other than that, I've had no crashes. I've had no game breaking, save breaking bugs or anything like that. It's been very enjoyable on that side of things. I've heard of people having problems with mission bugs and stuff like that. I personally have not had that. I think I had one instance where I spawned in to fight. Spawned into a system to fight. Well, there was just pirates there that were like, right, we're going to attack you. So I fought them, killed them, and the game didn't recognize that there was either an invisible enemy that was still alive or couldn't see him, or the game thought there was still someone alive. So I couldn't technically leave the system and I couldn't technically land on the planet because it was like, you can't do this, you're in combat. So that's the only thing. It wasn't game breaking because it auto saved as I left the ship initially, as I like took off in the first point. So it was just a quick reload, go back into the system, kill the enemies because that same event happened, but then that was it. That was all done. So it worked that time. So that's the only thing where I've actually had to go. Oop, but it wasn't like I wasn't mid mission. It was just like I was just traveling to a planet, and that happened. So far, I've been really enjoying the faction quests, or how those kind of work so far. Freestar Collective, the United Colonies, and stuff like that. And there's still so much more to do with that. I've really enjoyed the towns, but this is where I get a bit more critical. Why is there no proper map? Why is the surface map this? This is horrendous. And I know because it's procedurally generated, they would have to like outline I don't know how they would. I don't even want the outside of the city. I mean, if they want to have just a terrain kind of contour map for the outside the planet, outside the city settlements, I'm fine with that. If that's like too resource intensive or too much of an issue. But in the city, especially in like Sidonia, New Atlantis, I would love a map, just because, I mean, you do start to figure it out, but it's definitely a bit jarring to begin with when you're like, you start just following the blue little quest marker blindly. You just like go, right, okay, I'm just going to put the quest on that, rather than actually being able to go, oh, I'm just going to go explore this area, have a look around, check the map to see what's there and stuff and what we're going to find. Yeah, disappointed with the map side of things. And then before I kind of wrap up with my final kind of initial thoughts, the fast travel, or some people deem the abundance or too much fast travel, and like menu hopping and skipping and things like that, like load screen to load screen to load screen. I'm actually okay with that initially, and I think this is quite a common anecdote. I don't think I'm alone in thinking this. The first 2 or 3 hours after you get your ship and you go to New Atlantis and you're doing the tutorial and all that stuff, the initial kind of bit, you're like, that's the travel. You can fly around space a little bit and shoot things if there's enemies there and stuff. You can board a spaceship if you need to and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, it's going to be much quicker for you to just look at the planet, open the scanner, fast travel to the point you need to go to, or open up the mission, set the course, fast travel there, etc. I think the amount of time you're moving from one planet to another, one system to another, one inner city to another, like from like New Atlantis commercial district to the spaceport, etc. The amount that's happening, I am glad that there is fast travel there, and that this guy's just doing a little problem. No, you carry on, man. You patrolling your undies. Good for you. So there's little bugs, but they're just like harmless ones from my experience. But yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, the kind of fast travel side of things is very much a blessing, I think, on my side of things. I feel like when you, again, I'm going to draw a comparison to No Man's Sky because it's probably the only other space sim, and No Man's Sky is space sim loosely, isn't it? But you know, space game, let's say, that I've put a lot of hours into. And when you land on a planet on No Man's Sky, you've normally scanned it to see, okay, it's got some resources, it's you know, the sentinel levels are fine, and you know, it's got the stuff I need. And you're there for the long haul. Well, maybe I am. I don't know if everyone else is, but I'm there like sitting down. Next 4 hours of gameplay is me building a base, getting a mining operation up and running, then maybe going back to the capital ship to sort stuff out and think, you know, but you know, I'm pretty much at that planet, exploring it, getting the scanning, because I love the scanning on No Man's Sky, and maybe I'm in the minority there, but I love the scanning in No Man's Sky and collecting everything and being able to name the items, get credits for the items. It feels rewarding. I don't feel rewarded in the scanning in Starfield. I just don't. I feel it's cumbersome, especially with the scanner being 10 meters, and I know you can upgrade it, but I think that's a lazy skill point. I don't think that should be a skill point. Yeah, and I think the fact you've got to like scan the same tree like 5 times, well, not the same tree, the same type of tree 5 to 10 times. I think it's 8 times, isn't it, roughly? Same with the animals. You've got to, like the fauna, you've got to scan them multiple times. I don't know. I think there's no real clear indicator as well. Top tip, if you're missing an animal, go land near the coast and then go to the sea on the planet if it has an ocean, because it's probably like a shark or a fish or something. The game doesn't tell you that, like explicitly anyway. So there's just a few things there, and obviously because you've got to then lift up, because where you land, the biome is created, and then you've got to, you know, there's not always ocean there. You can't just run there like No Man's Sky or get on your ship and just fly there. You've got to go out to orbit, find another landing spot and land back down. So I think the fast travel, how it works currently with the scanning system, is not a nice mix personally, but for the story and moving around the world and going from one city to another in this game, I much prefer the fast travel here. And then, like I said, in No Man's Sky, I'm in a planet much longer, so I do want to, when I do leave the planet, I do want to kind of take off. I do want to go into space and fly a little bit and then come back down and stuff. Whereas this, I'm absolutely fine moving around. I get to see my ship, get to go on landing pads and get to fight it up in space and stuff every now and again, because there are those kind of random missions and things like that. So from the fast travel perspective, absolutely fine with it, enjoying it. I like that it's that way, and like I said, I might be in the minority, and maybe the compromise is that they gave people an option, and I guess, like I said, because of performance, they haven't done that. Because I probably, even if this was in the game that you could take off from the planet and land and everything, I don't think I would. I would have done it a couple of times and then novelty would wear off. And thankfully, at least on my NvMe drive, this game loads very quickly. It has a brief loading screen and then it's gone. And we've loaded in to wherever it is. So I'm personally not sitting staring at loading screens all day, not inconvenienced by it. And it gets me to explore the world quicker as well. So overall, this is kind of like my kind of halfway point, non-scripted kind of semi-review, as it were. I'm enjoying the game so far. It's not a perfect game, and it has its flaws. I don't believe it's a bad game. And I've been seeing that come around. Like, I don't know if it's clickbait or, you know, why it's okay that it's a bad game and like to come to terms with it, or, you know, it's, you know, Starfield's not good and stuff. I think obviously with all reviews, that's opinion, just like mine is right now. I personally don't believe it's a bad game. I think it's a very good game, but it's not a great game. It's not an exceptional, perfect game. And so an 8 to a 9 out of 10, I think that fits it. I think that does fit it. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's not a 9.5 out of 10, you know? I would say the 88 Metacritic's probably right, because I think it just misses that kind of 9. Like, I think that 88 is just a perfect kind of, if it's still 88, that's just a perfect kind of score for it, because I think that hits it exactly where it is. It's done a lot of things right so far, from what I've seen. Like I said, I need to see what the story's like the main campaign. I need to explore a bit more with the, you know, I haven't even been to Neon, which is a whole other city. I think there's more cities as well. You know, I think that's the thing. I'm only scratching the surface. I'm almost 40 hours in. I'm having fun. It's a night. It's not holding my hand too much as well. It's really good, and I'm just very happy that I'm able to experience Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, you know, great games all in the same year. Like I said, RPG fans were eating good. So, like I said, I don't think anyone asked, but that was my initial thoughts so far. And let me know what you think in the comments below. How are you finding the game so far? Remember, try not to do any spoilers or anything. We're all still, well, I'm still working through it. I know a lot of people are still playing through it, going at their own pace. I've seen a lot of things of like not rushing to New Game Plus, and after seeing like ACG and Carnage's kind of reasoning on why not to rush to New Game Plus, I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad I'm kind of just working my way through it. And I'm looking forward to getting to New Game Plus when I'm like good and ready, kind of thing. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below. Remember, hit the like button, really helps the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. Please let me know how you're finding Starfield, or have you got any reservations about Starfield if you haven't picked it up yet. But what are your initial thoughts on your side of things? What did you think? Anything you agree or disagree with that I've said today? Because like I said, I think it does a lot right, but it just misses the mark. There's enough holding it back that it sits at that kind of 8 to 9 out of 10, like that 88 Metacritic. Spot on, in my opinion. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.